Hey guys, what's up? Today I am going to answer one of the most asked questions about the Taken King. How does the Sleeper Simulant compare to the Gjallarhorn and the Black Spindle directly? This is a hard question to answer considering that the Gjallarhorn is a light level 170 item and the Sleeper is a light level 300 plus. The answer to this question lies in the fact that there is a place where light level does not matter and all damage values are flattened and evened out. Year 1 and Year 2 items can compete evenly. The Crucible. I took these weapons into rumble matches, got some headshots, and then measured the fire rates and reload times in order to find out the maximum potential DPS for all three of these weapons. Which one does the most damage? Let's find out, shall we? First, we have the Black Spindle, the easiest to measure. All we need is one headshot. One headshot, and we deal 452 damage. Next, we have the Sleeper, which upon dealing a headshot will do 743 damage. Lastly, we have the Gjallarhorn, which was slightly hard to do considering that I could not get the explosion damage, the tube damage, and the Wolfpack rounds to all proc on screen at the same time. However, I do know that pre-nerf Wolfpack rounds did 70% of the explosion damage, and the tube does 30% of the explosion damage. Meaning, if I take that explosion damage of 328, then double it, the amount it can possibly do in one hit is 656. Next up, we have to figure out how fast each of these fire and how long it takes to reload each. So what does this information all mean? Well, when I take this equation that I made in order to deduce the damage per second, the Gjallarhorn does 2 rockets every second, and then the reload speed is 3 seconds, meaning it does a damage per second of 262.4. The Sleeper, on the other hand, has 3 shots in the magazine, firing at only 0.75 per second, and then a reload speed of 3 seconds. This comes out to a total of 318 damage per second, which is 18% more than the Gjallarhorn. Now, why are people saying that the Gjallarhorn is so much better than the Sleeper? Why do they think the Sleeper is such a mediocre weapon? Well, let's take a look at the Black Spindle. The Black Spindle does 452 damage every second and has no reload speed, meaning that it does 452 damage per second, which is 30% more than the Sleeper Simulant. And that's 48% more than the Gjallarhorn. The problem is, in Year 2, mini weapons do much more damage than the Gjallarhorn ever did in Year 1. Swords, the Touch of Malice, even the Black Spindle, all do much more damage than the Gjallarhorn. So even though the Sleeper does more damage than the Gjallarhorn, it does less damage than these weapons that we got earlier in the year. However, this is theoretical DPS, meaning if all of the shots are headshots and you don't have to move if the target doesn't have to move, which in the raid is actually what happens. There are large windows of opportunity for most of the bosses where they do not move, and you get free reign to just pump your entire magazine into them just to DPS as fast as you can. Almost every single boss does this in the raid. If for any reason that there was a boss that moved around, fired at you while you were shooting, or you had to be constantly on the move, the Sleeper Simulant would suddenly be much, much better than any other weapon on the market, considering that the Black Spindle would have to reload, thus reducing its DPS considerably. Same thing with a Touch of Malice. It can do so much DPS because you can fire it unlimited in your invincibility bubbles in the raid. And swords? Swords have a trade-off where you can be one hit by a boss if you try and get too close to him. So, in conclusion, the Sleeper Simulant is better than the Gjallarhorn, easily. However, it is worse than the Black Spindle. It kind of makes you wonder, why did people complain about the Black Spindle being an exotic item in the first place? I'll leave you with the rest of this clip, and you guys have a great day.